Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin and it's Friday, so it is time for Fridays with Fred. Dun dun. So, what is Fridays with Fred? It is the day where we go through my progress on the project I am making from this book. So I bought this book, Knitting the Neighborhood, the official knitting patterns of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I decided I wanted to make them. You guys are coming along with me. You're following along. We might actually have one or two people making a puppet. Okay, so first pattern we chose was the Beginnings Cardigan by Carla Patrick. And that one I made for my husband, Brian. He's worn it a couple of times. You can see it in videos. It's awesome, if I must say so myself. And so we voted. And I nominated 4 different patterns. Not another sweater. I wanted a little break from the sweaters. And the vote was that I would do the Daniel Tiger, the Daniel Striped Tiger puppet. This is by Nikki Epstein. And there is the puppet version right there. So, put my thing back in there. I am forging ahead. We need to do my stitch marker of the day. So, I got the Sugar Skull set from Miss Ellie Leva at Ellie Leva's Crafts and More. We are on day 4. Let's see what it holds. These have been so cool. It is, oh, that's cool. It's like a rainbow. This is a rainbow one. And then it's got, they're all iridescent. So I think there's a gray, a green, a faceted ambery yellow, and then a reddish pink on the bottom there. But look at how cool that charm is. So these skulls are all, I think they're definitely enamel. I don't know if they're brass. Most enamel seems to be on brass, but I'm not positive on these. So, it's definitely silver, which is not a brass color generally. But I guess it could be like a nickel-plated brass or something. But there we go. We are on day 4. I'm going to stop talking about metals. And we have our little Sugar Skull collection coming. I'll tell you, Bingo broke in this afternoon and was like, ooh, pretty. No, you little stitch marker thief. But what she will probably play with is my Daniel Tiger. So the pattern calls for the Go for Sherpa. It's the Lion Brand Sherpa Fleecy yarn, which is a jumbo 7. I don't have that. I knew this pattern was coming up, and on Hirschner's I saw some Go for Faux yarn at a really good deal for a 3-pack. So I nabbed that, thinking, you know, someday we're going to make this puppet. It'll probably work for it. And then I ended up getting a 3-pack of a white of the same yarn from Lion Brand. So it was part of a Santa sack. So I was kind of wondering, do I mix these together? Do I not? It's technically a 6, or they have it classified as a 6. So I was playing around with it, and I decided to use, the yarn suggests a US 13 knitting needle. The pattern requests a US 15. So that's, I think a 9 and 10 millimeter. Let me see. Yeah, so a 13 is a 9 millimeter. The 15 is the 10 millimeter. So I decided to try the yarn with the 15 millimeter, and I really like what it's doing. But I measured it, and I ended up adding 6 stitches, and I think it's going to work. I read ahead. I think I figured out how to place my increases to make it work. Let's hope. And I did go ahead and add the white to it. So what I realized is it's worked in reverse stockinette. So that means the right side is what you would normally think of as the wrong side. So the right side is going to have all the purl bumps. But when you color change using knit stitch or purl stitch, when you use stockinette or reverse stockinette, all the V's end up on one side, all the purl bumps end on the other side. So when that happens, the purl side will always be a little jagged because of how the bumps are formed. So I thought that might actually work really well and kind of tiger stripe up the effect. And I think it worked really well. So I am about halfway done with this portion, and then I have to do some finagling, I think, for armholes or something. I don't know. But I'm about halfway to where I need to be to do the next thing. And here's how it's looking with those color changes. So I think it looks really, really cool. I think it worked out great. Like, look at that. It's just kind of scrapey, and I'm just randomly throwing the white in. I'm not measuring. I am trying to balance a little bit, like, you know, one row, maybe I'll put it here, then maybe in the middle a bit, and then like over here, and then I might do one row where it's just all white. Because I think I might have to do some white at the very, very ends. So, because it's going to be seamed. So it's worked flat and seamed, which surprised me. I thought it was going to be worked in the round. It is not. So it's worked flat and then seamed. So in order to get like wherever the seam, so like right now it's like it has a fully brown tummy or something. So at some point I'm going to have to put white on the ends so it doesn't have just a fully brown tummy. Although, I mean, a lot of cats have like white bellies. I don't know about tigers. I can't say I've paid that much attention to a tiger's belly, but who knows? Anyway, so I am swimming along with this. It's a challenge. I normally don't have to count every row when I'm knitting, but I count my stitches, and I mean, it's only 35 stitches, so it's not that onerous. But I am counting to make sure I don't lose a stitch in all the fuzz. And my back side is a mess with all the ends. I'm gonna figure that out later. We're looking at the pretty side. But yeah, I am progressing. I'm making it along. Like I said, I'm about halfway to where I need to split for, I think, the armholes, so you can, I'm assuming you're gonna like stick your hand in and then like this kind of operate him. I don't know. That's my assumption of how a puppet works. But yeah, so I think I'm making it, and then I'll be armholing it up, and then we'll make the head at some point. And he's on the cover here. My guess is it seamed up the back, because look at how clean the belly looks. Unless they cheated and knitted it in the round. I'm not putting it past them for the cover shoot. I'm not putting it past them. But now this does... They striped him up, and his belly is all one color. Maybe I can just leave belly one color. I guess I should check where the seam is. I don't know. They added the stripes later. So they knit it all in one color, and then they sewed stripes on later. So those are after additions. Okay, well that's good. Sew side seams of arms. Maybe I didn't read this quite as closely as I should have. I don't know where it's telling you to seam it up. Bind off. Shape neck. Continue in reverse stockinette. I don't know why I'm filming this while I'm reading the pattern to try to figure out how we're seaming it. It never tells you to seam the back. But I'm not seeing a point here where you are joining. Bind off. Okay, I will just make the pieces and we'll figure out how to sew it together when we sew it together. Sorry for that little bit of awkwardness. I'm actually probably going to edit a lot of it out so you don't have to see me looking ponderously at the book. That's how I am with a lot of knitting patterns. Like, I try to read forward and then I'll kind of get the gist of it and then I'll try to get into like the minutia of it and just confuse myself. But I find that once you work the pattern and then you get up to that section, it just makes sense. And you're like, oh, of course that's how this works. I just didn't see it in my head. Are you guys like that? Does that happen with your patterns when you're working with them? Is it just me? Could be just me. I'm a weirdo. Okay, but I am going to see you tomorrow with my weekly roundup. And we're going to try our best to do a pour decision. I'm not quite sure if we're going to get there, though. We'll see. We shall see. Okay. But I'll see you later. Bye-bye.